Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Shoaib Farooqui. Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Shoaib Farooqui again from That's the Point. I welcome you all to a very interesting video, and this time we will be going to touch a very interesting topic about which the whole world is talking about. So I thought just to shed a few thoughts on this topic. It is about the post-Ukraine war energy security scenario all around the world. So this is something from the energy corridors I will be discussing in next 13 minutes. I will try to keep it brief, but it's again a very detailed topic, so I gather few thoughts and try to make this video in a conclusive version for all of you to be stay in touch with what's going all around the world. So if you want to stay in touch with such interesting topics, don't forget to subscribe. That's the point. So we will be very interactive in future. So Russia invade Ukraine, and this is one of the thing which nobody likes. A lot of bombardments, a lot of killing, and people are suffering, humanity is suffering. This is not good. So but that's what the whole world is talking about, that there are different aspects of this war which is being imposed within Europe, Russia, Ukraine, and other Central Asian countries. And this have opened doors for a lot of brainstorming, thought process, that how world would avoid these circumstances in future. But the war is on. There is also a risk of nuclear invasion. People are talking about it, but my video is just from the energy perspective, that what's going to happen, what's going on, how the world is seeing this, how the producers, how the consumers are seeing this situation, and who have predicted it very well, who have not predicted it very well, and who gonna suffer, who gonna take advantage. This is in this video, so stay in touch. I will be elaborating all these facts for your attention. So as when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a lot of speculation, and President Biden have clearly said that they will cut off all the gas and oil supplies from Russia. And people were worried. There were Middle Eastern countries were saying that Qatar and Saudi Arabia, they will gonna fulfill the needs of Europe, but Europe is now fully dependent on Russian gas and oil. And on the other hand, the Russian president have clearly said that now he will not gonna sell any oil and gas to anyone unless he will be paid in rubles, which is the Russian currency. So now everybody is puzzled. European Union is also puzzled at what needs to be done. There were some sanctions being imposed on Russia. But if you see on your screen, I'm just showing you the current oil and gas price scenario. As in my other videos, I have already discussed it in detail, that why this oil and gas prices started increasing just when the world opened after COVID-19. But don't forget that I have mentioned that this is a very interesting scenario, that when the oil prices were increasing, there was a sharp increase in the gas prices as well. This is a unique scenario. But people were speculation that this price will gonna touch $200 a barrel, $150 a barrel. But currently, as we are speaking, on your screen you can see that it came down, and after almost a year or so, the prices have touched below 90 mark. Now that it is trading as we speak at $95 a barrel. The if you can see the historic trend on your screen, just after the world opened up after COVID-19, the prices started increasing, and there was an increase, and the prices crossed the barrier of $100 a barrel mark, and they continued to increase. And just after Russian invasion, people speculated that they will gonna raise further, but it didn't happen. Now they've started coming down. Why it is happening? I have said in my other videos, I will provide you the links as well in the description, that there is still not much consumption all around the world for oil and gas. The biggest buyer being China. They are buying everything what is available, just on the sea, on the ports, or at the verge of the reservoirs themselves. But the demand all around the world is not the same as it was before COVID. So this price escalation will not last long, and there have to be somewhere around $80 mark. These speculations are not real. I have shed light on the facts of the challenges on the supply chain side, and why these prices, the higher prices, are not sustainable in long term, because the demand is not there. The demand, when we talk about demand, the demand has to be all around the world. It should not be just coming from one part of the world. So now come back to a very interesting scenario, that what will gonna happen to Russian oil and gas. We predicted that when the Russia will invade Ukraine, US and Europe will put sanctions on them, and there will be nobody to buy Russian oil and gas, and the Russian oil and gas, due to the non-buying of Russian oil and gas, the prices will go up, because there were not much supplies as far as the demand is concerned. But it didn't happen. Japan stood up, and Korea stood up, China stood up, and they said that they will gonna buy Russian oil and gas, and they will buy in abundance. On your screen, if you can see that from 19 and then from 20, Japan was the biggest buyer or biggest importer of LNG all around the world. Now they say that they will buy Russian gas in form of LNG, and they will pay in rubles. On the other hand, if you see on your screen the Europe gas imports scenario before Russia invaded Ukraine, and you can see that Russian gas contributes a lot of economic activity all around Europe. Germany is 50% dependent, France is around 30% dependent, Netherlands was around 35% dependent, Italy was around 40% dependent, and so on. So there were a lot of buyers of Russian oil and gas in Russia, in Europe, which was supposed to put sanctions on these hydrocarbon reserves from Russia, but it didn't happen. Okay, so what happened? I'll show you a very interesting slide, and this slide shows you some of the refineries which are still buying after 2 months, almost 2 months of Russian invasion on Ukraine, or you can say around 48 days to be very exact. They are still buying. The Bulgarian refinery, German refineries, Greece, Italy, Hungarian group, Dutch, India. India is buying in bulk now, and India is also willing to pay back Russia in rubles. And the price on which India is going to buy oil, especially, that is equivalent to around $40 a barrel. That is quite cheap as compared to the current prices, which are being trading at around $95 a barrel. So if these consumers will not stop buying Russian oil and gas, then the oil and gas available in the market being produced by America United States of America, Middle Eastern countries, Far Eastern countries, who gonna buy and utilize that oil and gas? So how come the price of 95 barrel will be sustainable for long? That's why I have predicted it quite early that these prices will come down. Now I'll share you with another slide, very interesting slide, that who have stopped buying after Russian invasion on Ukraine from Russia. BP, ENI, Gulf, PKN, Orlen, Poland, Sweden, Spanish refineries, Shell, French refineries under Total Energies, Swiss refineries under the name of Vero. These are the names of the refineries which have stopped buying Russian oil and gas just from the word go. But on the other hand, I've shared you the statistics that who is still buying. Now, if we move forward with our presentation, that Russia currently is the biggest supplier of oil behind Saudi Arabia to China. Russian biggest target now is the Indian market, which is the third biggest consumer market for oil and gas in the world. In February 2022, Beijing and Moscow reached to an agreement for which will last for around 30 years to build a new gas pipeline from Russia to China that Russia can easily sell the oil and gas to China and then to Japan for sure, and then in the mid of the way, India is the biggest market for Russian oil hydrocarbon reserves. So that's why if you see the behavior of Russian president, it is very aggressive. He is very well calculated in his numbers, seems to be very confident that his economy, despite of sanctions being imposed by European Union and USA, he will not suffer. And that's why he announced that he will not gonna sell his hydrocarbon reserves in dollars anymore. So now China is buying in their currency, other countries are buying in Russian currencies. So this creates a very interesting scenario for the US itself and its allies when they keep on producing hydrocarbon reserves, and where this price gonna end. Now I'm going to touch a very important aspect of this video, that since last 10 years, 7 years, what's going on when it comes to exploration and production budgets, exploration and production capex all around the world, especially in last 3-4 years. It is being cut down significantly. US is not explorating the way they used to explore 10 years back after the innovative approach in producing from shale gas, shale reserves, and the oil prices are on the lower side, and that's impact the overall drilling and exploration activity all around the world. Stay in touch with the other slide to follow. Okay, this slide on your screen, which shows the capex is going down, and this capex start going down from 2014, and this is just about the US market. US market is one of the biggest, in fact the biggest all around the world when it comes to oil and gas exploration. And if you can see the capex for exploration activities being cut down 3 times, but on the other hand, the population all around the world is growing with around 81 million people coming to this world every year. Global oil and gas industry has to spend around $550 billion a year to meet the demand of this growing population. And if you consider these around 7 years where the capex is being cut down, during this period around 640 people born, or I would say came to this world, and while we are discussing it, another 81 million will gonna join us in this world. They will be having some needs, and that needs have to be catered by continuous energy supplies. And while US was doing this, and the whole world was after the same approach, and in the meantime, China keep on buying, and they acquire the economic stability. They have achieved the economic power just because that they didn't stop. On the other hand, US stopped investing in oil and gas sector, and this resulted in lower oil prices, lower exploration activities, and that's why now the US, I believe, they are not in the driving seat. There are other countries, especially Russia, who are now controlling the energy supplies. Now the whole world have come up with a very interesting terminology last year. They call it, this scenario, energy security. And energy security, by energy security, if you're going to Google the word energy security, it will tell you that it is a term which will define that how a country, how a population will going to survive or sustain their economic activities through continuous energy supplies. There were a lot of work being done on renewables, but renewables being terribly hit by the climate change all around the world. As there are other videos, I have done a very comprehensive video on the world coal consumption. The link is there in the description. If you can see that in last especially 2 years, and just after COVID, everybody started using coal again, despite all the environmental hazards which are already there. So if we move forward, just to share with you an example from the Middle Eastern world. Now, if you consider Middle Eastern world, the oil and the gas are the most important commodity for them. If they consider themselves economically sustainable countries in the coming 10 years, they have to invest back in oil and gas sector. And if I can take this example as a reference on your screen, I am showing you the investment being done by Saudi Aramco. This investment in oil and gas sector not only diversified, they have invested in hydrogen, they have invested in shale, they have invested in conventional source of energies, but on the other hand, their capex, the overall capex in 2022 have been rose to $50 billion from just $27 million back in 2020. So this is an example that similar things are going on in UAE, similar things are going on in Kuwait, Oman, and other Middle Eastern countries, that they are now reached to a conclusion that they have to invest and they have to continue explore, and while they explore, they have to work on getting good buyers for their hydrocarbon reserves. So now we are come to the end of this video, and while how can I forget my own country while concluding this video. So I will shed some light on where Pakistan stands at this point of time and what Pakistan needs to do in coming future. Okay, as we move to the end of this video, there are some few conclusive remarks on the global energy scenario. That European Union is still confused that they will gonna pay for Russian oil and gas in rubles or not. They didn't decide yet on the complete gas and oil shutdown in future. Russia is still very aggressive in Ukraine. Their talks are going on, but the war is on. Europe need gas by any cost to fulfill their needs, and as they were heavily dependent on Russian oil and gas, they need to find new sources, and when they are in need, those sources have to come at any price for them. The Middle Eastern countries still not able to fulfill, to compete, or to fill the void being created or will be created after Europe put complete ban on Russian oil and gas. Middle Eastern countries are not ready to fulfill that void. Why? Because, as I've told you, they didn't invested a lot in last 7-8 years. They didn't invested a lot in oil and gas activity. On the other hand, the supply chain challenges are quite aggressive. They are not able to get proper LNG vessels. LNG commute is costing them a lot of money, and that results in a very high cost of the end product reaching Europe ports. Oil price will come down and it will stay around $75 to $85. This is my prediction. Probably it may change as the changes are very dynamic all around the world. Natural gas prices will gradually increase further because of the logistic and supply chain challenges all around the world, and it will be not very easy to get imported gas in a viable price, or you cannot predict LNG prices in the coming days, especially next 6 months. So now where Pakistan stands, just in between this new energy corridor which is being established from Russia all the way to China and in between India. Our energy import bills are touching around $13.5 billion, and you know, a country which is a developing country, the sixth most populous country, with our GDP is not more than 3.5 and on an average 2.8 in last 3 years. We cannot, you know, sustain these high import bills of energy resources. A share of independent consumer increased by 25% when it comes to gas. Like there are new independent gas consumers in last 1.5 years been added in the system. Shortage of imported fuel in the global market, and when we call for bids for LNG and this time for diesel as well, we were not able to get the high speed diesel even. The bids are not there. We are getting all the reserves for our use from government to government contract. We are not getting any bids from any suppliers since last 8 months, especially for LNG. So if we go and buy with the spot buying mechanism, that will be not commercially viable. So the only way out for us is to look and develop our indigenous resources at a very fast pace. Our pace is, sorry to say, pathetic in last 3.5 years. As a country, we cannot sustain these high import bills. Our trade deficit is very unpredictable just because of this unpredictable prices of energy supplies all around the world. So just to conclude my presentation and to conclude my video on this high note, because I know that most of my listeners are youth, young professionals, mid-career professionals who are keen to, you know, continue or start their career with this energy supply scenario. You have a very bright future, but yeah, patience need to be there, because nothing is stable. There is a lot of the condition is dynamic a lot. Things are changing, so you need to be very patient. But oil exploration will happen all around the world as well, especially in Middle East. There are a lot of job openings nowadays. The activity is coming up, the rig activity is coming up. I hope that Pakistan government will look into this soonest, because we need to do things on war footings. If we need to sustain our economic development, if we need to sustain and grow our GDP, if we need to give a good affordable lifestyle to our masses, to our population, focus on energy supplies, sustainable energy mix is the most pertinent thing for a country like us. So thank you very much for your attention. Stay in touch with That's the Point. I am really thankful for all of you for being very kind audience and very interactive audience. Allah Hafiz.